Now, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula has commended, his party's performance in all the by-elections it participated in. The party won 14 of the 18 it contested. Mbalula was speaking at a briefing a short while ago, which also touched on a wide-ranging set of issues affecting the country. Newzroom Africa's Juniour Khumalo attended that briefing and joins me in studio now. Juniour, of course, we had been making note of those by-elections, and that is the one thing that, of course, Mbalula began with and wanted to make sure that that message was made clear. But the top story that we have, of course, is the one leading in the country right now, is the deportation then of Janusz Walus. Let's get clear commentary then on what was said then by Fikile Mbalula and the party's notion of whether they support the inquest set out by the family.
Indeed, he did speak about what the ANC is supporting the family as well as the SACP in terms of that inquest into what really happened there. He kept emphasizing that despite Walus's arrest, he has never spoken out in 31 years of who was behind him going to kill Hani, who sent him basically. So that's what the ANC still wants to understand. But the question was put to Mbalula on whether this inquest will make any sense, given that Walus is being deported to Poland. So where are they going to get these answers if that inquest is opened right now? Because they can't then fly again to Poland and try and deport him back to South Africa and speak to him. But he said that this is the stance that the ANC is taking, that they are going to support that inquest. But we did see the SACP, which is an alliance to the ANC, basically expressing its unhappiness in terms of the last-minute delegation that went to the family. They're saying that it was basically trying to get the family to rubber stamp on the deportation of Walus. It wasn't really a consultative process with the family. And the SACP has already expressed that they won't be supporting the ANC in the local government elections. So they're creating an enemy there in the alliance partner, which is the SACP.
Yeah, and I suppose, you know, politics aside, because that's what that notion is between the SACP and the ANC. Politics aside, in a situation like this, the ANC wanting these answers, and it's a question that I put to the chair of the Chris Hani Foundation a little bit earlier, just with regards to the Chris Hani Institute. Why was this not made a firmer decision or question mark earlier? I don't know if that question was perhaps put to Fikile Mbalula as well. He
says that the ANC has been trying in the past 31 years since this arrest happened. The ANC has been trying to put pressure on the NPA as well as the justice ministers that have held that portfolio. But no answers had been forthcoming from the individual who was arrested and accused for this crime that was committed. So that's the stance that the ANC has taken, that for now the only thing that they can do is basically request an inquest and support the SACP as it continues to try and do this.
Yeah, let's talk about then other issues, of course, that Fikile Mbalula was discussing around this, and this is the move from justice portfolio right then to be redeployed to human settlements then, that is Thembi Simelane. Let's talk about the reasoning, one, and whether the inquest into that conversation has actually been cleared up in any way, and do we have any firmer answers?
Just to make it clear, he did indicate that it's the president's prerogative where he basically deploys individuals when it comes to cabinet positions. But the ANC did indicate that they were aware that a lot of South Africans had raised a lot of concerns around the minister herself retaining that portfolio, given that the justice minister, you are the one also who, at the end of the day, all of the reports around VPS and those investigations will land in your desk. So it was basically unfitting for her to retain that portfolio. The ANC says that, though, the minister, Thembi, has not been charged at the moment. So this is part of the reason why the president has not removed her totally from cabinet, but has decided to rather move her. We also finally got an update from the ANC's Integrity Commission with Mbalula saying that he has spoken to the chairperson of the Integrity Commission, Frank Chikane, who has indicated that a report by the commission is not complete yet when it comes to Thembi Simelane. But let's take a listen to what Mbalula had to say when it comes to Thembi Simelane.
The ANC respects the constitutional prerogative of the president when it comes to cabinet appointments. We, however, note the heavy strain and impact of this matter on the organizational brand and image, and the voices of civil society for her to step aside pending a full inquiry and other legal processes and independent bodies. At the present moment, the minister is not charged and has not been found guilty by any of the institutions, may it be Chapter 9 institutions like the Public Protector and so on. And there has not been any precedent before where a person who is not charged but implicated in one or two things while serving as a minister has been forced by the rule to step aside.
Now, the conversation is clear here that she's not going to step aside, which is a notion that was put forward by the ANC itself, let's remember, while this investigation is happening. Has that been made clear as to why that is the case? And if there is an investigation into her, how long that may take and when we might find the results thereof?
Indeed, he did speak about that. He was saying that the minister is not yet charged. So the step-aside policy of the ANC says once the individual has been officially charged and they are going through those court proceedings, that's the only time when they can be asked to step aside. But we did see the ANC, I think it was last month, when its NEC basically met and it was trying to give more powers to the Integrity Commission so that even in such a situation where an individual is bringing some disrepute to the party, then it can act. But we still haven't received an update on what sort of powers the Integrity Commission of the ANC has actually been given.
And with regards to the timings, we still don't know any word on that either, do we?
Not yet. He did indicate that Frank Chekane had given him an update saying that they are still working on the report when it comes to Thembisi Melane, and also even those outstanding matters when it comes to the ANC president's Phala Phala issue, as well as some high-profile individuals that include Zweli Mkhize when it comes to the digital vibes. He has received a report on those, and he was processing it as the Office of the Secretary General.
Okay. Look, enough on that one. Let's step aside, shall we say, from that issue. Let's talk now about the Spaza shop issue, which of course as well Fikile Mbalula did make note of. Just with regards to what exactly the ANC plans to do with regards to the situation that of course is now worrying a lot more people, whether it be in rural South Africa or non-rural South Africa, it's really affecting a lot more people.
Starting at that point about the worry that has been, the concern that has been expressed by a lot of South Africans, Mbalula said that there is this notion or perception that the ANC is not doing anything about illegal immigrants that are said to be running some of these Spaza shops or even going into these mines. We've seen individuals being trapped underground, some of them refusing to resurface. He said that the ANC is actually addressing this, and it was some tough talk from the ANC with the secretary of the ANC saying that a lot of illegal immigrants were basically abusing the graciousness of the country in hosting these individuals. These individuals. So now he was saying that he has spoken to the ANC deployees in government to try and look at legislation that would prevent foreign nationals from owning businesses such as Spaza shops or smaller businesses. These are supposed to be, according to him, kept for only South African citizens. So we will see whether the government deployees of the ANCs are going to go forward and implement such legislation. There are no timeframes, though, that have been put forward by the ANC. But let's take a listen to what Mbalula had to say on that.
We cannot watch when our children die and the local economy suffer as a result of lawlessness. We will all recall that in our country, we took a decision that at some point that dealt with the issue of illegal immigrants in the space of Spaza shops. And there is a constitutional court judgment to this extent that those who have acquired asylum status in our country must be allowed to operate. As the African National Congress, we have mandated our government going forward as part of this campaign of the Spaza shops that we must preserve businesses like Spaza shops for locals.
Junior, while the conversation itself on the legislation is important, but what's also important is, as a government, yes, as the ANC saying to government as well, Is there capacity? Are there enough resources to put the boots on the ground to put this legislation forward and actually implement it? What was the word then from Mbalula?
He did not address that, but we do expect an update when those government employees of the ANC do finally speak out to the media, when they do announce what sort of legislation they've come up with. And obviously, as that legislation basically goes through public input, when the public gives its input as well, maybe that's where we'll get a clearer understanding on whether they have the capacity. Yeah. But so far, we've seen a challenge when it comes to even monitoring these Spaza shops in terms of what do they sell, are the goods expired? There hasn't been any capacity so far. So we wait to see whether they will have the capacity to implement all of this.
Long day for you. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us and unpacking this one for us as well. Juniour Khumalo, of course, having unpacked that ANC briefing, which we saw then just a little bit earlier with their very own then Fikile Mbalula. Now, the Mente family in Willowvale in the Eastern Cape is living in fear after the brutal murder of 4 of its members earlier this week. The incident, which took place on Wednesday, brings the total number of murders in the area over the past 6 days to 7. It comes just days after residents held a march against rising levels of crime in the community. The motive behind the killings remains unclear. Timothy Madikane, the family spokesperson, has expressed concern about possible future attacks.
Into enzekileyo kukuhlaselwa kwabantakwethu bephaya ekuhlaleni. Ukuhlaselwa kwabo kasikwazi bakusuka kweliphi